Welcome back to On the Rise, and Canada has lost their first ever Copa America match to the reigning World Cup champions 2-0 to Argentina. But it was a very good performance from Canada with a lot of positives to be able to take from this match and to move on to a very exciting couple of matches against Peru and Chile. And this was a good match from Canada, a great performance with a lot of positives to show from this game. Unfortunately, Canada comes from this game not scoring a goal, and this seems to be a recent trend for this Canadian national side. You can look at this game from one of two ways. Right now, Canada, great performance, playing very well against the world's best nation and best footballing country, and had a great performance. And it's a lot to take and a very good performance to take away from their first ever Copa America match. But on the other hand, there's disappointment and there's regret looking back at this Canadian team. Whether it's the first half where Stefan Eustáquio should have put away that header, or whether it's the second half where Jonathan David should have delayed that jump and had a better opportunity on that header, this Canadian team created multiple grade A top chance scoring opportunities where we should have scored a goal in this match, but Canada ended up finishing this game without a goal, but better XG, especially throughout this first half, where Canada should have gotten a goal and gotten on the score sheet. After now going 4-0 against the Netherlands, 0-0 against France, and now 2-0 to Argentina, this Canadian team needs to find a way to score a goal. They need to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. So when you look at Canada for the next upcoming matches, you can say if we play this well against Peru and Chile, we should be winning. Yes and no, because we have to score. We have to find a way to score goals, because this Canadian team created multiple chances, multiple top chances that should have been put away. And yes, you could say, well, our best chance came from a midfielder in Stefan Eustáquio, but clearly, if you're a fan of this Canadian national team, you should know that Stefan Eustáquio is a brilliant number 8 in the midfield who is fantastic at making those late runs into the box and scoring chances. Whether it's for Canada, especially against Jamaica recently, or whether you look back and look at FC Porto, where Stefan Eustáquio loves arriving late into the box and scoring goals. That is his bread and butter, and he failed to do that here for Canada. This is a Canadian side who should be walking away from this game. Whether it was 1-0 in the first half, whether it was finishing at 1-1, this Canadian side should have ended up with a goal and clearly not just a result, but something to show from this game, more than just a good performance. We've been saying great performance, well played from Canada against multiple big nations, whether it's at the World Cup against Belgium under John Herdman, whether it's more recently against France, where Canada created chances as well, or whether it's now against Copa America. Although it's against some of the best sides in the world, most recently against the two sides who were number 1 and number 2 in the World Cup, this Canadian side is still creating great chances, and they got to be scoring. On the other hand, you can look at it, eventually these Canadian strikers will score. Eventually these Canadian players will score. You can say, oh, they need to be subbed out for Taniela Lawasi, they need to be subbed out for Theo Bair, Jason Russell-Rowe, whoever you made it call it, maybe Ben Snyder saying Lucas Cavallini. Not even close in my realm, but these Canadian players will eventually score. Cyle Larin's playing in one of the best leagues in the world. Jonathan David's wanted by some of the best clubs in the world. These players will eventually score. Going from Taniela Lawasi, who hasn't even been proven to play in a competitive match for Canada, or Theo Bair, who hasn't been given a chance from Jesse Marsh, this is our best options in Cyle Larin and Jonathan David. And for me, they're going to eventually score. Give them their chances, they're going to eventually score. We got to get off their backs, in my opinion. Just let them play their football. Jonathan David and Cyle Larin will score. Against Peru, against Chile, they're going to do it. This team is bound to score. Eventually, they're going to score. We have some fantastic players. We have some great goal scorers who play in some of the best leagues in the world. I'm getting off their back. I'm trusting Larin. I'm trusting David. They're going to get the goals. And let's flip this and look at the positives, guys. Let's stop worrying about the regret, the negativity from not scoring, not taking our chances, because there's so much brilliance to talk about in this game. Whether it's Moisey Bombito and Derek Cornelius truly showing their brilliance at the back, whether it's Maxime Crepeau with the man of the match performance, whether it's Jacob Schaffelberg coming on and proving why he needs to be in a better league than the MLS, this Canadian team just went out on one of the biggest international footballing tournaments outside of the Euros and the World Cup, and proven to the world that we are a true footballing nation. Alphonso Davies has been saying it for some time that we're going to change the perception on the world that Canada is a footballing nation. He went out there and this nation truly proved that we're a footballing country, because that was a brilliant performance against a side that everyone expected us to get smacked up about, besides Canadian supporters who knew what we were about. I thought we might have lost this game 2-3-0. I didn't think it was going to be extremely out of hand, but I didn't think we were going to play that well. We controlled large parts of that game, especially after that second goal. This Canadian side didn't drop their heads. They didn't look like we're going to get deflated and get outscored like we did against the Netherlands side. This team was well drilled, their heads were up, and they were playing for that badge on their chest. Because after that second goal, there's a 5-minute period that you have to ride out when Argentina has the momentum. They did it very well, and then they stepped on the front foot when Jacob Schaffelberg came on. And this side looked like an absolutely different team. And yes, you can say in the final third, we didn't have intricate passing, we didn't have nice, fluent football. But you gotta be realistic here. This Canadian team was never going to come into this game and go into the final third and in the Argentinian half and have free-flowing football, beautiful football, intricate passing. We got to be realistic for a second here, because this Canadian team was going to have nerves. They were going to be a bit shaky. They're going to have to grow in this game. And Coney was a great example of this game. Because for me, Coney in that first half looked extremely shaky on the ball. Gave away the ball multiple times, lost possession, his passing wasn't great, but defensively, he won some fouls, was reading the play very well, and had some great interception. He did grow into the game, but it wasn't Kone's best game. He started to take control of the ball more in the second half, was carrying it more, dribbling the ball a lot better. But Kone was a great example of that team. They grew into the game, they got a lot better as the game progressed, and it was a great performance from Canada, especially from a couple players I want to point out, in Derek Cornelius and Moise Bombito. This center-back pairing is truly incredible. The way they have emerged and their presence, and they have given Canada a new platform to play from. This, no fault of their own, but you gotta look at Joel Waterman, Kamal Miller, Zach McCall a little bit, and Steven Vittoria. Completely different players and molds and profiles to Moise Bombito and Derek Cornelius. They're slower, more physical, and not as quick, pacey, better in a channel, and able to have that recovery pace calm on the ball. Moise Bombito and Derek Cornelius, whenever you saw a 1v1, whether it was with Julian Alvarez, Angel Di Maria, Lautaro Martinez, you weren't scared. You knew they were going to have composure, you knew they weren't going to fly in rashly, and you knew when they got there, they were going to beat the Argentinian to the ball. Julian Alvarez was beaten multiple times by Moise Bombito. They were able to step and read the play at the right moments. They weren't stepping out of play. They were able to hold a high back line. And for myself, you guys, if you follow the channel, you can see in my back, I have a Manchester United calendar. As a Manchester United supporter, a bit of a comparison here. Eric Ten Hag's wanting to play a high line for some time. He has Harry Maguire and Lindelof. They can't do it. Brings in Licha Martinez, and it completely changes the team. That's what Jesse Marsh has done here. Moise Bombito, Derek Cornelius, phenomenal center backs, great on the ball, very composed, extremely fast with great recovery pace. And they help to change this team to play a higher back line and to force Argentina to really try to play over top when Canada has an extremely fast and pacey back line. And all of Canada's back five was extremely good. Alistair Johnston, for me, I thought he was fantastic. Had a very good but very quiet game. He didn't stand out by any means, but he was very good. Very smart, tidy passes, strong in a challenge. Didn't do any stupid mistakes. Didn't do any stupid aggressive tackles. He was a very smart performance by Alistair Johnston. A very tidy performance by Alistair Johnston. But also, Alphonso Davies, for me, a very interesting one. Very divisive figure for sometimes at the Canadian men's national team. For me, rose up as a leader for this national team after getting the captain armband. Great attacking wise, great chemistry with Liam Millar, but also strong defensively. Truly grew into this game. At times, gave too much space, gave too much separation from his winger and Angel Di Maria, whether it's Rodrigo De Paul, whether it's now Molina, gave way too much space to start off that game, but then eventually got tighter, got closer, was able to close down the space, learned very quickly. He had to close it down, had to get his recovery pace right, and he did very well growing into that match. Alphonso Davies, I thought he did. And also, attacking wise, was very good with the overlaps with Liam Millar. Great interchanging, great play. And he didn't overstep too much to the point where he tried to play hero ball in the past under John Herdman. Great stuff from Alphonso Davies, in my opinion. But also, guys, let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about this game? Let me know your reaction. Drop a comment down below on our back line, on Maxime Crepeau, on Jacob Schaffelberg, and hit the sub button and drop a like, because the support is extremely appreciated, because we now talk about Maxime Crepeau. Rounding off that back five, Maxime Crepeau was sensational, and he is the reason this team is in it. For me, if you go back and watch my roster announcement when we released the roster for those two friendlies, I thought Dane St. Clair should be the number one. And then when we got in the French game, Maxime Crepeau turned up and proved me wrong. And I thought he should be leading us into this Argentina game as well. And he proved me correct to change my mind, because he was sensational. Against France, 2 huge saves in the first 15 minutes. Against Argentina, an unbelievable save within the first 15 minutes. And he now has proven that he can be relied on to make those huge saves early on. And Maxime Crepeau was great with his feet. He was great under pressure. He was great aerially, commanding his box as well. Maxime Crepeau looks like a goalkeeper that you think, he's not in the MLS. There's going to be a lot of fans worldwide looking at, who's that goalkeeper? Where is he playing? Portland Timbers? Where's that? And Maxime Crepeau just stood in his head today. And for me, when you look at goalkeepers, he's not an overly tall goalkeeper, especially when you compare him to Emiliano Martinez in the other net. And when you go, I don't know if you guys watch, but when I watched the Ben Foster of the Fallscast, he had Emiliano Martinez on his podcast, and they talk a little bit presence and your ability to carry yourself and have your aura. And as a goalkeeper, if you carry that presence, if you carry a big personality in that goal, you look a lot taller, you play a lot larger, and you cover the net a lot more than you would for a smaller goalkeeper. And I thought Maxime Crepeau does that very well with his presence in the net. He looks like a lot larger goalkeeper. He's able to connect and command his area very well. And he did fantastic this match. Whether it was sweeping, whether it was commanding the box off crosses and corners, whether it was his control on the ball, or just his brilliant saves, Maxime Crepeau was sensational. But guys, to wrap up the video, to make this not an extremely long match reaction, I got to talk about Jacob Schaffelberg. Jacob Schaffelberg came on in that game very late, or not very late, my apologies, but very at the right time for I thought. Around the 60th minute, Jacob Schaffelberg came on about 5-6 minutes after Argentina scored, and completely changed the outlook of that match. Brought a lot of composure, brought a lot of pace in that game, and was able to press on the front foot. And for me, I would start Jacob Schaffelberg over Tajon Buchanan next match and use Tajon off the bench. Maybe if you use that, Tajon Buchanan might wake up and say, I got more competition here. I need to wake up. I need to show my quality, because he hasn't done it for some time for the Canadian national team. And Jacob Schaffelberg, my God, was he terrific. He showed why he's been linked away from the MLS and why he should be getting a move away from the MLS. He is miles better of what the club he's playing at, because his pressing on the front foot, his ability to deliver balls in the box, and also get that back line under pressure was sensational. But for me, I will say my man of the match was Maxime Crepeau, but also let me know, you guys, do you guys want to see match ratings after every game on every single player who participated? Because there's so many fan channels that do that as well, most notably the United Stand, where they rate every single player after the match, because I'd love to do that as well, guys, because for me, Maxime Crepeau would be getting a 9. He was sensational. He was my man of the match. He was brilliant. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below, because overall, Canada had a sensational game. They played very well, but couldn't hit the back of the net. They will beat Peru and Chile if they can get this monkey off their back and find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the match down below in the comments. Drop a like, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.